There's honestly no genuine reason I could give you to purchase FIFA 20 on Switch if you already own FIFA 19 on Switch. 4 out of 10. That is IGN's review of FIFA 20 Legacy Edition on the Nintendo Switch. Now, EA has been known, of course, for their lack, I would say, of Switch support. They really haven't been good at it. Like, at all. They've had a few things here and there, right? Like Unravel 2, for example, although that is part of their Originals collection, which is pretty much leaning on indie developers. We had Faye, which is the same thing, leaning on indie developers, but their big games, like, for example, NHL or Madden, are nowhere to be seen on the Switch. Those are just their sports titles that show up every single year. Massive projects like Battlefront or Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order are... We can pretty much not even assume at this point that they would make their way to the Switch. EA's made it very clear that there is something between Nintendo and EA when it comes to that support, because now we're seeing the Switch, of course, grow heavily in its install size, and most likely by Christmas time we'll have passed the original, or the Xbox One, in install size. It'll probably cross 40 million by the time we hear about it after the holidays. It could be in like the lower to mid 40 million range, which should let it eclipse the Xbox One, which is a system that, of course, EA completely backs. Most of it has to do with its sharing the similar architecture for PlayStation 4 and PC, so if they're going to develop for the PS4, they might as well develop for the Xbox One since they're halfway there and wouldn't have to mold it to ARM, which is what the Switch runs on. But there's something a bit different about supporting and then, well, not supporting, I should say, and then just straight up ripping off the install base of the Switch. Because that's what it appears that they have done here with FIFA 20 Legacy Edition. You might be wondering, what is that? What is FIFA 20 Legacy Edition? Well, the one thing I'll give EA credit for, they are not trying to hide it at all. They, like, not even a little bit, because it's right on their frequently asked questions, because they have to explain what this is. Because most of us don't know what it is until they tell us that, and I quote, as you can see, this is from their FAQs, their frequently asked questions about FIFA 20. What is the FIFA 20 Legacy Edition? FIFA 20 Legacy Edition features updated presentation, which are in-game menus and broadcast overlays, the latest kits and squad updates for the upcoming season, but no new game modes or gameplay innovations. So it is basically just a reskinned FIFA 19. Some might even say FIFA 18. I've seen that as well. Just like, hey, if you have FIFA 18 or 19, there's no point in buying FIFA 20 Legacy Edition. And I've seen some conflicting reports on pricing. I believe it's supposed to be $50. However, if you go on like Walmart's website or Best Buy or GameStop, it appears that they're selling it at $60, but then Amazon has it at $49.99. So it's kind of all over the place. I thought this wasn't supposed to be full price, but those are just what I've seen so far. So we have very bad reviews with IGN giving a 4 out of 10, which is heavily conflicting to FIFA 20 on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, which I've seen some people really like and say it's like the best FIFA so far that they've played, but none of those new features or anything have made its way over to the Switch. They have seriously just taken FIFA 19, reskinned it, and moved it pretty much up a year. They changed 19 to 20 and put the new cover athlete, I guess, on the front. That's pretty much it. They printed some box art, they changed around some text, some logos, and boom, $50 or $60 to the Switch fan base, Switch owners. And how do you think that went over with people who generally will review bomb? Now, here's the thing. Review bombing, I'm not the biggest fan of, right? I've talked about this, mostly because a lot of times we see review bombing when it is mostly fanboys who are not happy that a game is on one system or the other. Now, we do sometimes have review bombing if there is something they don't agree with or there is a legitimate problem where it's broken, and I think that makes sense because a lot of times they will leave a message with it. That's generally the best way that they can put out some sort of message to a potential buyer to stop them from buying it. We saw it with Steam, where Steam would have games that would be finished in like an hour or 2 hours and like 10 minutes, just long enough to get outside of the refund guidelines. So people would review bomb it, leave messages saying, hey, don't buy this. Epic Game Store does not have that, so you can't really do that there. And that's kind of where it gets a little dicey and why people aren't too happy with the Epic Game Store when it comes to not having a voice to technically review bomb. Yes, I know, but I kind of figured this would happen. And if we look at the Metacritic score, first of all, we can look at what you would say, quote unquote, professional score is from reviewers, right? 44. Am I surprised about that? Not really. Not if it really is a reskinned FIFA 19 and 18, which is what it does appear to be. I mean, EA has now told us that themselves, that's what it is. And what's great about this situation, the user score is 0.2. You are reading that correct. 0.2. It's not even a 1. It's not even a 1 out of 10. We went into the decimal places with a 0 in the front. We had to put a 0 in front of the decimal point to get to the score. That is based on 79 ratings. So maybe we should read a couple, right? Just to see what everyone's thoughts are on it. I'm sure it's very civil and straight up. So let's see what people are saying about the FIFA 20 Legacy Edition. I have a strong feeling it's going to be a lot of what I've said now, but we of course have 79 of them to look at. This game came out 2 days ago, by the way, on the 27th. It says, for example, here's good right at the top. 0 out of 10. It's FIFA 19 with new picture. I'm really disappointed. Not even Volta. Shame on you, EA. By the way, I think I have an idea why EA felt the need to release this outside of possibly having a deal with Nintendo for an extended amount of time for a contract, which I think is one reason, but we'll go over that a little more. Silix Eco says FIFA 20 equals FIFA 19 with updated skins, in quotes, updated, probably because it's a roster update, right? They move some stuff around. Oh, this person got traded here. This new person signed. This person is doing better from last year, so we had to raise their stats a little bit. Yeah, and it says, please Konami put Pro Evolution Soccer on Switch. We're tired of EA's bad treatment. Now, I don't know if Pro Evolution Soccer is in a better place now than they used to be. At one point, Pro Evolution Soccer was pretty good, and I feel like it did push FIFA quite a bit. I just think it was better at one point myself. It might have been mid-2000s where I remember I used to play Pro Evolution Soccer on the original Xbox, and I liked it. And I think it was I remember playing on 360. I definitely remember playing it on the original Xbox and thought it was pretty good. It might have been 04, 05. I'm sure there are some Pro Evolution Soccer people out there who can let me know when the good years were back then, or even if this one's better. It doesn't seem to be with what I see with reviews and how people talk about it with word of mouth. And then we see Javi Andre saying, see how Switch can handle with The Witcher 3, Doom Eternal, Dragon Quest XI, NBA 2K. There is no excuses for a mediocre work. Konami, again, we need PES on Switch. That could probably help, I guess. Competition, right? That's what we're banking on here. And then down from there, Minish Frank says, EA continues to ignore feedback, make the same game again and again with minor changes, and gives us unfinished games every year. It has to stop. So here's the thing about FIFA on the Switch. The Frostbite engine has not been moved over to the Switch. That's what current FIFA runs on. If Frostbite was moved over to the Switch, there is, I think, a possibility that it would have just been straight across the board, but they haven't translated it over to ARM or anything, so it still does not exist on the Switch for Frostbite. That, of course, keeps Madden off of there. I'm not sure about NHL. I think NHL still runs on the Ignite engine, and they haven't even really talked about it. And apparently this year's NHL is actually good, so I don't get EA with that whole thing. NHL used to be really big, by the way. I remember it might have been it might have been like 2011, 2012, even 2013. I remember hockey was very, very popular, like NHL 13 and 14 and everything. I remember people got really into it then, and it was really exciting. I think NHL 15 was pretty good too, but now it's fallen off completely, and surprise, surprise, that's about the time that EA started to figure out about loot boxes in FIFA. So my reasoning why I believe that this game even exists, outside of the possibility, okay, of a contract between them and Nintendo for, let's say, 5 years. So get ready for FIFA 2021 Legacy Edition. That'll be great. Is because they need to reset Ultimate Team. That is my belief. Every year they reset it, right? Every year the stuff you've purchased in FIFA 18 does not transfer over to FIFA 19. We restart. You got to put the money back in so they can get their $800 million in microtransactions all over again. It's worked for them every year so far. That's why they still fight the loot box legislation that could happen with governments around the world, and why they push heavily for surprise mechanics to be in their game, specifically FIFA. That's why FIFA 20 Legacy Edition exists, because they had to reset it. That's why they spent the time that they did with the Switch to even build this engine so that it works in the first place, because the monetary gain there over time was worth literally adapting an older version of FIFA to the Switch and make it run at 60 frames and everything. That's why. And it seems to have worked. We've heard, of course, stories about the Switch even in particular, about how kids managed to take their dad's credit card and charge like $800 to it for FIFA Ultimate Team because they wanted their favorite player, or they wanted a very skilled player, a rare, epic player. EA is, to me, looking at this, I think EA has completely earned the review bombing. They've earned the backlash here. They've earned the low scores, because this is, by all accounts, one of the lowest effort sports titles I've ever seen. And that is saying something, because we already look at sports games, the yearly ones, as being roster updates. This literally is a roster update, and they're charging $50, $60 depending on where you buy it from what I'm seeing. That is something else. And again, I think it all comes down to having to reset that FIFA Ultimate Team. And that is, well, that's EA nowadays. That's EA in 2019, 2020. It's definitely not the EA that I grew up with, right? EA games challenge everything. That EA they're gone. And this is just another way to show that it's not how it used to be back in the day. But let me know what you guys think about EA and their FIFA 20 Legacy Edition getting review bombed. Make sure you like the video as well on the way out. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.